for filling us with the Spirit. I guess it's not exactly filling us with the Spirit. The Spirit's already in us. It's helping the Spirit that's in us wake up. And it was hard to stop Masankho, but he will be providing some beautiful music for us as we go through this time. This is intended to be for all of you, more than for the four of us, but we're privileged to be here for what we hope will be a really engaging exploration of what it means for each of us to have our life be our message. My name is Charles Gibbs, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here with all of you and with my dear colleagues.
I'm Elisabeth, and I'm really so happy to be here also with you. Thanks for your invitation, Charles.
I'm Audri Scott Williams, and it's always a pleasure to be with so many souls that we can celebrate together and just awaken the whole world. I don't have small ambition.
I have a mic here, so that doesn't have to stretch. My name is Reverend Heng Sure, and it is a joy to be with you. We're all in Salt Lake City. We're standing on ground that has been host to humanity in nature forever and forever. So let us carry it on with some spirit and find out what is the message of our lives.
So, having been awakened a little bit, I think the next invitation is to touch that deep inside ourselves that has been awakened. So we're going to have a little shared silence. Audrey will ring this bell, please, and we'll have a few minutes in silence. Just let go of everything that might be distracting you at the moment and come into that heart that is the core of each of us. Touch it and let it touch us. And after a little silence, Reverend Heng Sure will invite us to move into a song.
Buddhism has a devotional side, and in the Buddhist tradition there is a bodhisattva, an awakened being, bodhisattva of great compassion, and her name is Guan Shi Yin. Can everybody say Guan Shi Yin? Your Mandarin's improving. Did you know that? Congratulations. Guanyin Bodhisattva is a familiar figure. She looks very much like the Holy Blessed Virgin of Roman Catholicism, a lot. And she is, some people say, the eternal feminine in the Buddhist perspective. And you access her compassionate strength through calling her name. This is how the Buddhist tradition teaches it. And so they say, Namo Guanyin Bodhisattva. And a Canadian-American songwriter named Jennifer Barazan put this devotional heart into a song that when I sing it in Buddhist Asia, they say, that's a Guanyin Bodhisattva song. Here's how it goes, and we will, someone said yesterday, Reverend Heng Sure will now sing for you. And I said, no, 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 Reverend Heng Sure will now sing with you. So it goes like this. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. We do it twice, carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. Great, I'll tell you when to come in, that's your part, here we go. She is bold, she is a light high on a hill, dark of night. She is a way, she is the deep, she is the dark. Survive. She carries me to the other side. Here we go, your part. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. Again. Carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. And though I walk through valleys deep and shadows chase sleep on rocky cliffs, I stand alone. I have no name, I have no hope. With broken wings, I long to fly. Carries me to the other side. Here we go. She leads me through and back once more. When day has dawned, when death is nigh, she carries me to the other side. Last time, here we go. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side. She carries me, she carries me, she carries me to the other side.
Thank you all for bringing that alive. And I think we all agree we would like this to be a place where everyone here can set down whatever it is you're carrying for this period of time and let yourself be carried. We'd like this to be a place where there are no insiders and outsiders, a place of absolute belonging for each person in this room, a place where it's safe to look into our heart and ask what our heart is asking of us, to listen deeply. Mahatma Gandhi, when he was asked, "What is your message?" replied, "My life is my message." And so let's each of us in this time feel the freedom of listening for the message our life wants to be about. And it's different for each one of us. I'd like to share a poem that for me is an invitation each day into that. Each of us will die one day. It doesn't matter. More important is to practice living. Still all that does not serve our truest becoming. Listen to the music of the universe, inviting us to begin the dance that is ours alone. The beloved has been waiting from before time for our first step, for our next step. No matter our age, our life is new in this moment. Let us dance. I would invite us now in a time of silence to ask what our heart wants to say to us. What is the dance that is ours alone? What is the message our life wants to be about? We'll have a space of time just to be still with ourselves, with our heart, with whatever the music of the universe wishes to communicate to us. We'll come back and have a message, and then we'll have an opportunity to share some of what we've heard in this time. So this is a time just to listen to ourselves.
My name is Elisabeth. I was born in Iran in an intercultural family, from a French mother and an Iranian father. I'm living in Barcelona, Spain. I'm Baha'i, and I myself created an interreligious family, married Catholic. At that time, we were both young and full of energy. We are still young and full of energy. I do not remember when I began to ask myself, who am I? What do I want to do? What can I do? I think that I also realized that at that moment, that there was a challenge of being and the challenge of doing. And those two challenges were complementary. And that there must be something, and something must be done. As far as I have multiple circles of belongings, being Baha'i, women, daughter, wife, mother, multiple countries, my work, and all these things, the most natural and easy thing had been probably to try to apply one of my Baha'i prescriptions that say, consort with the followers of all religions in a spirit of friendship and fellowship. So that at that stage, I put in the center of my life, just close to myself, to my I, the others. Trying the best from the deep of my heart and my soul to accomplish pure and holy deeds, a virtuous life, and a goodly behavior. I think that at that time I was quite sure that I was responding to my holy scriptures, mentioning how excellent, how honorable is a human being who arises to fulfill his responsibilities. How miserable and shameful is the person who shut his heart and eyes to the welfare of the whole society. I do not remember when I began to ask myself who I am really. What do I really want to do? What can I really do? I believe that at the most important point at that moment was the purity of heart. When you realize not only in words, but in the profound deep of yourself that thanks to all the gifts life is offering every day, even painful experiences are opportunities. When you realize that at the end of the day, we are not but a soul in a body. So at that point, I was thinking what that means to be a soul in a body. And I thought that the only way was to purify my heart, to purify it today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And my only occupation was the purification of my heart. I thought I was not but a mirror which could reflect the light of my Creator, reflect spiritual qualities, and manifest divine attributes. At that point, the challenge was to polish that mirror and to ask myself about selfishness. And don't think this is an easy thing. For sure, it doesn't go, the selfishness doesn't go to be selfish. I mean, it doesn't go from one day to another. You cannot leave overnight from worldly desires. But what you can do is every day have more control over them. In fact, I do not remember when I began to ask myself, but who are you? Is that really what you mean by being human being? Is that really what you want to do? What you can do? And at that point, I realized that thus the mirror of my heart is trying to be polished every day. For that to happen, it is necessary that the center of my life be not me, be not I, be not myself. Up to that point, even being as unselfish as possible, even trying to have a life of service for the others. I had all my existence turning around myself, my heart, my mirror, my own soul. The question should not be, what do I want to do? What can I do? But what is my Creator will for me? This is still a question that we must think and work about. But it's a different perspective. It's not how do I feel right now, but how should I feel? That is an aspect of having our Creator in the center of existence. Every feeling, every emotion revolves around that center. Doing that doesn't mean life-changing in its material sense. Of course, we must continue studying, working, living with our families, having friends, having recreation. But the point is that God, our Creator, His revelation is in the center. And the main occupation of one becomes the study and the understanding of the worlds of His revelation. Let's get out of our self-constructed center. Let aside this I. Let our Creator be in the center. And we will see that this center is getting wider and wider with I, with you, with the whole universe in it. Now we see the world through the light emanating from Him. It is not me that illuminates all. It's His light. So being on one side, we do not see each other. We see His face reflected in the faces of others. We see dust illuminated by light. We see particles, and each powder seems huge. It seems that each particle has a lot of power. If we do that, the self disappears, and we die to ourselves to be born to the real center. We must be emptied of all that is not filled with Him. So being on one side, we also see our weaknesses, but we see His power, and we realize that our weaknesses are our real power. We have at our disposal so many powers. Each of us sitting here have so many spiritual powers beyond our age, beyond who we are, our studies, for where we are coming. Our Creator has left for each of us great powers at our disposal. But these powers must flow through certain channels. We should clean these channels to let this power flow. And when we let this power flow, it's at that moment when a simple mosquito becomes a huge eagle. And it's at that moment that we are really living in heaven on earth.
Thank you, Elisabeth. Every person in this room has a story to tell. We spent some time in silence getting in touch in a deeper way with that story that wants to be told through us. Now, we'd like to invite you to share some of that story. We're in extraordinary company. You may be sitting next to someone you know or someone you've never met before. If you could find one or two people, you can sit where you're sitting, you can move around a little. Let's imagine we're in a wonderful clearing with easy movement around, not in rows of fixed chairs. Let's not let that stand in the way of connecting with each other. So find one or two other people you'd like to talk with for about the next 10 minutes and share a little bit about what you feel you're being called to become, what you feel is the message your life wants to offer. Is that clear enough? Okay, so please, we'll ring a bell when your time to come back for the next presentation.
Oh, wonderful.
Good afternoon. I know we could go on for days. I had a dear friend once who said, "You have the watches, we have the time." And we have all the time we need and never quite enough. There'll be more time to talk, but if you could, as we get ready to move to hear from Reverend Heng Sure, if you could just thank the people you've been talking with. You're welcome to stay where you are. We're going to hear from Reverend Heng Sure and then have another opportunity for conversation, okay?
The United Religions Initiative is one of the main organizing bodies that brought this session into being, and I think everybody, the four of us on the panel, are connected to the United Religions Initiative in significant ways, Charles being executive director from the very beginning until just recently, for example. And we, and I might mention our fifth member, Masankho, Banda, has also been part of United Religions Initiative from the very beginning. So this music is always an important part of any kind of human movement and religious movement as well. And so we're always looking for ways to communicate the vision of United Religions Initiative. And giving that idea to children has always been fun because they get it right away. What do you mean not united? What do you mean divided? What does that mean? Why do you have to teach us that, adults, you know? So I thought I would like to invite you to join me in a United Religions Initiative song, You Are I. If you spell it in letters, or if in acronym URI, or if you spell it Y-O-U-A-R-E-I. And the chorus that you all are going to join me in goes like this. You are I, we are one, reunited we become. Okay, kids song, right?
Yeah.
So can you see on the screen? Can we read together? Let's do it together. Ready together? If the religions of the world, join me, could sit for just 1 hour in harmony, what a peaceful, happy world that hour of harmony could bring. Together, if the leaders of all faiths agree to share their hearts in honesty, what a model for the world, their friendship and integrity. And then we go, you are I, okay? Now here we go again, next line. When the children of the world agree to teach their elders harmony, what a joyful laughter in that lesson. Humanity. When the people of the world agree to be the change they wish to see, what a peaceful, happy place this world of suffering could be. A little bit of Buddhist color in there, just to, remind us where we... Okay. Oh, you are right. Here we go. Now, there's a Native American, the Iroquois talk about the peacemaker, who he got all the 6 warring tribes of the Iroquois to bury their weapons beneath the white tree, the great tree of peace. This is the peacemaker's story, one of the great stories of what we know as North America, but in fact was the home of the Iroquois Confederacy. So that's referred in this next line. Here we go, together. When nations of the world agree to bury guns beneath that tree, what a blessed celebration the end of death by guns would bring. When the URI guides society to religious hospitality, happiness abides within a commonwealth of harmony. And as Mr. Spock would say, may it be so. Right? So, okay, so Masankho will join me. Someday this should be made into a round, I think, Charles. But we're going to do it we'll just do it as a...
Well, just imagine we're around.
Imagine we're around, that's right. I saw you around over there, so here we go. You are I. Masankho, we're going to change the pitch. Here we go. There we go. A little better. Here we go. You are I. In whatever combination. We are one. Reunited happy place. This world of suffering could be. Join me. You are mine. We are one. When the nations of the world agree to bury guns beneath the tree, what a blessed celebration the end of death by guns would bring. When the URI guides society to religious hospitality, happiness abides within a commonwealth of harmony. You are I. We are one. Could we see the hands of folks who have been part of a cooperation circle or who have been part of a URI event whose lives have been touched by the United Religions Initiative? There we are. And growing.
If you can believe it, this young man used to be a Methodist.
That would be me.
And one day, he received a notice of a Chinese art exhibit and saw the Chinese characters, and something deep inside said, I know this. I know this. That's why we're here, to listen to that something deep inside and to reach that place of knowing. That place of belonging when we claim what we can know. So in this round of conversation, I would invite you, this can be framed in two directions. The positive one is, what are the practices you have or that you've heard about that help you listen to that deep voice inside? And the other side of it is, what are the practices that help you still all the chatter that would distract you from listening to those deep voices inside? Is that clear?
Sounds like a Buddhist, Charles.
Thank you, Heng Sure. So, we've got about 10 minutes now. Have at it. You could please thank the people you're talking with again, and we have another offering from Audri Scott Williams before a final round of conversation with everyone together. So, one thank you, and Audrey.
Hello, everyone. Living from the inside out, that's what I love. I love that expression. It's like my life is my message. For me, that means so many things. And I always listen and pay attention to what's happening around me. And when Reverend Heng Sure sang the first song, what was the first line?
She Carries Me.
She Carries Me. It brought me right into the remembrance of part of my life, of my message, is my relationship, stems from my relationship with my mother. And my mom was such a wonderful, not only a model for me, but a nurturer. And so I just kept feeling her presence. So I wanted to bring her into the room with us. She's no longer with us, But Mom went around the world with us, and as we walked around the world and walked around this country a couple of times, Mom was always the matriarch of what we did. And the reason I wanted to start, first of all, acknowledging my mother, Audri Scott Williams, is I also wanted to say in that relationship, I was able to find me, because she kept a bubble of protection so that nothing could change who I was. For some reason, that was how she saw her responsibility with me as I was growing up. And I was really a little different child. So that I really have grown to learn to appreciate that. My life as my message for me is so simple that sometimes it's easy to kind of push it aside. But that is, for me, is I've never experienced a power stronger than love. I've never experienced a power stronger than love. And that journey into love, especially in the love of self, has taken me through many different twists and turns. It's allowed me to sort of dance on the margins and then gently find my way back onto the page, kind of ease back out into the margins as my comfort with life grew. So from my life as my message has also been in those times and spaces where I had an opportunity to show up to life as me, learning that that's the most important thing. Now get what I was saying, showing up to life as me. That meant I had to do a lot of work to find out who I am. And the more I found out about who I am, it was like being in a balloon. Because the more I learned about me, the more I learned about the world. And the more I learned that there was no separation between the me and the world. And so all of a sudden, when I came into that state of awareness, I had the opportunity to reconcile what I thought all my life were all the differences that were competing in my life, competing to give me an identity, competing to give me a direction, competing to tell me who I could be with and who I couldn't be with. And so it was this union of all those inner aspects of myself that all of a sudden I could go into meditation, look inside and see the stars. All of a sudden I could go inside and be every place in the world where I felt or had been told I couldn't be. And in those inward journeys, all of a sudden I started to bring that into the world with me. And that's when I discovered no matter how I showed up in the world, as long as I showed up as me, in my deepest integrity, in my deepest space of love, I could show up and stand up fearlessly. Now I feel like I should say something, one of my granddaughters, I have 14 grandchildren, but one of them is very, like, right on it, little Nala. Nala would say, well, let me tell you something. And that let me tell you something is when I say I could show up as me and feel safe and be okay, it was because the power in me has grown to the point that I don't know any other way to show up but that. And so I know in that space then, the force of the universe, the creator, God, whatever name you call it, is what has called into me something greater than I could ever explain. And my ancestors stand behind that. My family stands behind that. My grandchildren stand behind that. And so I'm saying all that not from a space of ego. I'm saying that from a space of sharing. That as we tap into that inner me, the inner aspect of who each of us are, we all have our stories, but they all come together to create this beautiful tapestry. And that tapestry is your power. That tapestry becomes the offering that you can make to the world that will make a difference. You know, sometimes I'm invited to speak and to do things, and it's very, and I'm not putting this down at all, please, I'm just saying, I'm telling you a process. it's so heady that I've got to work real hard to keep my focus on that inner me, because it's, and I can go there too because I'm a former academician, but sometimes it's that simple, someone comes along and just the most simplest of ways says 2 or 3 words and wow, lands me right back in myself. And so what I'm saying to each of you and sharing, your life is your message, my life is my message, is it doesn't take a whole lot of words. It doesn't take a whole lot of sophistication. What will weave us all together is the sharing of our stories from our heart, from that center of love, that when it shows up, changes everything. And then when we are poised in that center and we show up in that moment, we are powerful beyond measure. We're unstoppable. Unstoppable, undefeatable, because there's nothing to defeat, right? It's like the wind.
Amen.
But it's the wind that is blowing now through my indigenous teachings, through my travel with elders, through my learnings in life, through my education. It's the winds that are blowing now that the grandmothers say, pay attention. That the grandmothers say, listen. 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 There's something calling to each one of us. And each one of us holds a key. Each one of us is a shareholder in the future. Each one of us has an opportunity to make this world a better place for all the generations to come. My life is my message that says, love yourself so deeply that one morning you wake up and you just explode out into the universe and carry that love with you everywhere, knowing that the change starts with you. You want to change the world? Walk in that. Walk in that space. And every step you take will be the step to the answer the world is waiting for. Thank you.
I suddenly feel like going off script for this last session. The invitation was that we would be able to give voice in some way to our calling in this world. And what I would like to invite us into, in the spirit of not necessarily needing lots of words, is a simple exercise that will get us moving around, and an exercise that will help us touch more deeply into our core and connect with the core of other people. So in a moment, Masankho, I'm going to ask you to help us move. I ask everyone to stand and find someone, anyone, and you look into that person's eyes and you say to that person, what you are, I am. And that person says back to you, what you are, I am. Do you have that? It's not hard. What you are, I am. Looking eye to eye, heart to heart. When you've said that, bow and move on to someone else. We're just going to circulate and connect with each other. What you are, I am.
What you are,
I am.
what you are,
What you are, I am.
what you are, I am.
You are
with a single heart, take all of the goodness that comes from this gathering. Think back to your ancestors and all their wishes for well-being. Focus through you like a lens now on into the future, generations to come. And make a wish and send out that goodness. Minds touch in all directions. There are no fences between minds. So use that connection and send out a wish for goodness. It's called Dedication of Merit. This particular tune is from the Buddhist tradition, but it was born of interfaith, Buddhist Catholic monastic dialogues. So please, when we put our hearts together in this way, it gets great strength. So let's do this now.
Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. They all become compassionate and wise. They all become compassionate and wise.
Thank you all for spending this time together. We pray that when each one of us leaves here, we leave with a deeper sense of our light, our deeper sense of the life that is wanting to be spoken, written, danced through each of us. And you might imagine in the rest of this time in the Parliament and when you leave here, that each person you pass, you can at least in your mind say, what you are, I am. What I am, you are. This is such a beautiful world, filled with such beautiful people, and it's up to us who want to claim that beauty to be the light of peace. So thank you for signing up. I know you each have in your own way for that journey. And thank you, Masankho, Reverend Heng Sure, Audri Scott Williams, Elisabeth Lheure, and thank all of you.